There is no turning back at this point. I am moving to Bali next year in 2022.
It's the same old story. Nothing in life's for free. I've been living in the dark.
I want to share with you guys every single thing from why I'm moving to Bali, as well as how much money I'm spending on this new lifestyle that I'm starting. So the first thing I want to chat about is, why am I moving to Bali? First things first, most of you guys know that I live in South Africa. I live in the beautiful, beautiful city of Cape Town. And I absolutely love living here. Like, I love Cape Town. But I've always had this like dream. Like, I would watch like YouTube videos back in like 2017, 2018. I'd watch YouTube videos of these people that like worked online and they got to travel to all of these different countries, like these digital nomads. And that whole lifestyle was always really, really fascinating for me. I am now basically a permanent remote worker. So that means I don't necessarily have to go into an office for my 9 to 5, as well as the fact that I also have a side hustle that is not necessarily pinned down to one particular location. So all of the things I'm currently doing for money don't require me to be here to make the money. So that's one of like the reasons why I'm moving, is because I actually have the option to move. I have the option to keep the same job and still be able to live across the world somewhere. And then the second thing is, I've actually been to Bali once in my life. Indonesia was the first country I visited as an adult, paying for myself, and Bali was where I landed, right? And I absolutely loved my time there. I was there for only a week, so definitely not like a long enough period to absorb like the culture and get to know people and things like that. So even though I enjoyed myself, I always knew that I wanted to go back. So this is my opportunity now to actually go back. So that is the second reason, is I absolutely love Bali. Like, my first experience in Bali was just incredible. The third reason, and this is more of a practical reason. So as I said, I live in beautiful Cape Town, and what comes with Cape Town, the beauty, the vibrancy, the everything that you get here, is a really big price tag. So living in Cape Town is very, very expensive. Although this isn't like the main reason I am moving, it's definitely like a plus. So when I started considering moving, the expense part of it was definitely like very attractive to me, because in Bali I can expect to spend much less than what I'm spending currently in Cape Town for an even better kind of like living situation, right? So to give you guys an example, for my first accommodation in Bali, I'm going to be living in a villa that has a whole pool, and the amount that I'll be paying is basically almost equal to what I would have been paying here in Cape Town for a very small apartment, with definitely with no pool. So yeah, like you can already see like how the expenses are different for Bali versus Cape Town. So that's definitely one of the reasons why I am moving. It's going to help me save money. It's also going to help me like live a very comfortable life on a budget. So that is another reason I'm actually moving. This is like the last reason I'm like mentioning here, but I think is probably going to be one of the biggest things I gained from moving to Bali, is the people I am going to meet. I am so excited because Bali has such a big digital nomad community. So I know I'm definitely going to meet people from literally all walks of life, from every single country in the world probably. So I'm really excited to just like engage with people like that, network with people like that. I think that's going to just add so much value and so much potential for me in the future, in terms of not only like business or small sales of freedom, but also with career opportunities, with friendships. So let's talk about money. There are a lot of different costs involved with this move, because one, we're living in an era where COVID exists, so there's a lot of different like regulations that I have to go through, or like bureaucracies that I have to go through in order for me to, you know, go into Indonesia and live there for the next few months. So I'm going to share with you guys exactly how much we have spent so far. So, by the way, I am not moving alone. I'm moving together with my partner. So, these prices are basically based on the cost for two people. But I'll also like explain like for one person, right? If you want to do this alone. So first things first, we need visas. So, that is the biggest thing. That was the first step, was to actually get visas to be able to move to Bali. So the nice thing about Bali is that because it's such a tourist attraction and it's such a digital nomad attraction, they make it a little bit easier for people to actually come to Indonesia. So we'll be able to live in Bali for 6 months on our visa. So if we decide to live for longer than 6 months, that means we need to go through a whole new visa process. So we're going to decide whether we're going to stay there for 6 months, whether we're going to stay there for 2 months, whether we're going to go to Vietnam, I don't know. For our visas, it cost us 4,070 Rand per person. And we used an agency. You can like apply for an Indonesian visa by yourself, but we thought like it would just make it a little bit easier for us to just give it to someone else, for them to apply for us and then like give us the stuff we understand, so that we don't necessarily have to shift our focus from everything else we have going on in our lives. So our visas were 8,000 rands, 140 combined, so 4,070 rands per person. And I really think that that's not too bad. That's basically like standard. I think even for like SA visas, you pay around the same amount when you apply. So we got our visas, of course, it's confirmed. So already have our visas. They came out really, really quick. They took like a week to come out. So bonus points Indonesia for being so efficient with our visa application, because we were super impressed to get our visas so quickly. So now we have 3 months to move. So we'll be moving to Bali in February 2022. So yeah, so we already have our visas. The other thing we also needed to do was to book accommodation for our first few weeks there. So we booked an Airbnb. Here's the thing that I've learned from like doing research on moving to Bali is it's easier for you to get even nicer places at even cheaper rates when you are in Bali than it is for you to get them on Airbnb. So we booked only for like the first like 3.5 weeks that we're there, our Airbnb. And our Airbnb cost us 9,430 Rand. So that wasn't really bad, to be honest, especially because we're so used to the Cape Town rental prices. Like here for 9,000 Rands, we'd probably get like a bachelor flat or like a 1 bedroom if you're lucky. So that really was not bad for us. So 9,000 Rand, 9,430 Rands for our Airbnb. And then what really cost us like the most amount of money so far is our flights. I don't think anything is gonna cost us anywhere close to what we've spent on our flights. So our flights were 16,360 Rand. 16,360 Rands for two people to fly from Cape Town to Jakarta. So this isn't necessarily going to take us all the way to Bali, which is our final destination. We're going to fly to Jakarta first because we actually need to quarantine. So there's a mandatory quarantine period that we need to go through in a quarantine hotel. So that's what we're going to do in Jakarta. So our flights to Jakarta were 16,360 Rands for two people. And the really nice thing actually I'm really excited about, this is just like a side note, is we have an overnight layover in Istanbul. So we're very excited for that one because it's like, an opportunity to see another country again. So yeah, we're going to be there for, I think, just under 24 hours. I think we're there for like 21 hours, and we want to take advantage of that and just, I don't know, explore a little bit. We haven't even factored the cost for that yet. Another thing that we needed to buy that we've spent money on that's really, really important is our medical and travel insurance. So medical and travel insurance is going to be really, really important, especially now because, we live in the time of COVID. Like, we don't want to be sick in a foreign country and not necessarily have any medical aid to fall back on. So we got medical aid, and the nice thing, because we live in 2021 and there's technology and innovative people, there is a whole digital nomad specific medical aid. So we got Safety Wing. It's going to cost us $42 a month per person. So that's like 662 rands per person. That's a really good deal if you actually think about how much most people spend on medical aid in like their domestic country. Like in South Africa, for example, it's not uncommon to spend like a couple thousand rands on your medical aid. So I think we got a really, really good deal because it also covers travel insurance as well. So they'll pay out if we get like our bags get lost in an airport somewhere, get flight delays and things like that. They'll cover us for that stuff. So I think that's going to be really, really useful, especially when we start country hopping a lot. To get to Jakarta, we're going to have to actually quarantine, and we've booked a quarantine hotel, or we've reserved a quarantine hotel. That is actually going to cost us 4,302 rand. So that is how much we're going to be spending on our quarantine hotel, and that is for, I think, is it 4 days or 3 days of quarantine? It's actually 4 days of quarantine with 3 nights. I'm not sure anymore, but essentially they will cover our food. They will also do our PCR tests while we're there as well. So yeah, they'll cover basically our whole thing. It's a quarantine package. So those are the things that we have paid for. These are like the major things, you know, the visas, the Airbnbs, the medical aid and things like that we are done with. But like I said, like there's stuff that we still need to spend money on, right? So in total so far, we have spent 39,556 rands on our move to Bali. And that like adds up to about 19,778 rands per person. It's quite a bit. It's quite a bit, but I don't think it's too much considering the fact that we got so many things. We got our flights, accommodation, and all of those things covered in that amount. So yeah, I wonder how much we're going to spend by the time we're done paying for every single thing. But I anticipate that we'll probably end up spending about 22K per person, but we'll see. We'll probably be even more than that, to be honest. The way things are going, we're realizing that we need so many things. So yeah, so that is the cost, guys. That is how much I'm going to be spending to basically create a whole new lifestyle next year. How am I able to do this? Well, remote work, of course, I already explained that. And a very, very big part of it is the financial freedom I have built over time. You guys know I'm obsessed with financial freedom, and the message I've been trying to like really push is the fact that financial freedom is not necessarily like a destination. Like you're not necessarily just saving up to get that 300 times or your monthly expenses so that you can be financially independent and be able to retire. You gain more financial independence like along the journey, right? And this is exactly what's happening to me, and is exactly why I'm able to actually pick up and move to Bali, because I had the money to pay for the flights and the visas and all of that stuff and make it happen, right? So yeah, guys, the financial freedom is basically the main reason I'm able to do that. If this was your very first time here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. I talk all things personal finance to help anyone achieve financial independence and even retire early. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, hit the dislike button if you didn't. And I will see you guys in my next video next week. Bye.